My name is Hellen Ruguru Njiru. I am a teacher by profession. This is about my 10th year in the profession. Talking about toxic work environment, I think I realized I was in a toxic work environment when I was diagnosed with clinical depression about 6 years into the job. Okay, the first few years were just cruising through. It was, of course, the excitement of getting a permanent job, of course. By the fact that everybody, okay, not everybody, a majority of job seekers would jump at an opportunity to work for the government. Of course, it was joy and maybe Thanksgiving of some sort. Well, Thanksgiving, not of some sort, but Thanksgiving. And the first few years went by, and it was okay. And when you're signed up for a job, for a teacher's job, you write a commitment letter that you're going to stay in that station for 5 years without seeking a transfer. So, well, the first 5 years were just like that. I think I never bothered to ask for a transfer. And when I did, even after the regrets, it was okay. Because I knew 5 years was the bottom line. But then, now 6 years later, that's now when the reality dawned that I am here. So what made the whole environment toxic? To begin with, when I was doing the interview for recruitment, I never really thought it was that far. I was in Kajiado at the Tanzania-Namanga border. So when I was doing the interview, we luckily did it from the county headquarters that is in Kajiado town. So it really never occurred to me how far the place was. And I remember on the first day of reporting, the person who drove me to that place at some point of the journey asked me, "Ai, Helen, uko sure unataka kukaa huku?" And then I brushed it off. Remember, I had said it was joy. I had a job. So whether it was far or it was near, that was really none of my business at that point. So I settled, and yes, the 5 years went. I sought for transfers. They were rejected, but it really never broke me until at some point I realized the people, the community, was not so welcoming. Now, toxicity here will come from a point of we are foreigners. I'm saying we because a majority of us were not members of that community. So at some point we felt rejected. Students attempted to strike and beat us up like 2-3 times in the first 5 years, but it was okay. And then at some point, we went with a few colleagues, take a walk around the village, and we were chased around. We were almost beaten up again. So toxicity now started from everywhere. I think from the community, and then we get into the work environment, it becomes a little bit different. You know, toxicity from the environment and the community is different from toxicity in your work environment. And somehow, even if the environment is so toxic outside there. Inside your working space, if it is let me say, if it is conducive, sometimes you don't get to feel the toxicity outside there, because you believe you're covered by maybe your bosses, your colleagues, and so on. So now, in the 6th year, let me just say 2018 is when I realized that I was actually in a toxic working environment. Well, where do I start? So now, remember I had said I had applied for transfers like twice or thrice, but they were never going through. And at some point I was not even bothered, because I knew the 5-year period had not lapsed. So ni ile kujaribu. It's like throwing a stone inside some water and see how deep it is. So when they were rejected, I really never got so discouraged. But come 2018, I think that's where I realized that, yeah, I might never leave this place if I don't push. So I started to push. And in the process of pushing, I realized that there are some places you cannot go, especially if you have a boss who maybe is overbearing. There are some places you can't go. So in that 2018, I decided to seek a transfer from that place. And the very first hurdle that made me think I was actually dealing with a toxic boss is that now I was punished for going, like I applied, the forms were signed, and then I took them directly to the county director's office, and I was punished for that. So when we opened school the next time, my boss is there saying, nyinyi ndio mnajifanya, you cannot follow protocol. Oh, and then I'm wondering, this person knew I was taking the forms. Why didn't he tell me, no, this is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take them through me. So I settled. And then come the next term again. Now the hurdles and all the punishment now they begin, because now you're being viewed like you're not following protocol, or all the bureaucracy in the system is not being followed. Oh, kiherehere, all of that. And then, fortunately or unfortunately, he gets a transfer, and well, we believe maybe it's a breath of fresh air, and it turns out to be the complete opposite. It is not. We are actually in hell, just to say the least. So, well, the new boss comes, and we believe it is a breath of fresh air, and like I said, now we are in hell. It's like we have landed in a new hell. So on the first day of opening, it was unfortunate. At that point, I had lost an auntie, so I was supposed to go for a funeral. So basically, I approached this boss of ours, the new boss now, because he has already taken over. And he says, I am not like so and so. You cannot keep asking for permission. You can't just ask for permission on Thursday and come back on Monday, the way you used to do with so and so. And I hope the person you're going to bury is not another member of your extended clan. And I was like, okay. And I thought it was a joke. So I left, and I decided, well, in future, I won't seek for permission from this person. I'll do whatever I have to do over the weekend unless it is an emergency. So I leave and come back to start the school term. And now that was like the beginning of all of those things that led me to depression. So the term moves on, and it is like the fact that I had gone to the county director's office to seek or to drop my letters, my transfer letter. So I had my transfer application letters. So the story now was shared from the outgoing boss to the incoming boss, and it is like now it became the immediate source, the immediate source of my predicament for the next 1 or so years. So now I am back and you are settled. But then every other time there's something this person will always see. At some point, I even asked a colleague, what is it that I ever did to this person? And he says nothing. He told me that you didn't follow protocol, you decided to go to the county director's office, and he felt like you were attacking their leadership. And so I asked, so what is so wrong with going to the county director's office? I believe this place is also my employer's office. And so I left it at that. So a few weeks down the line, I have a child who was joining school that year. So we were supposed to go for some orientation. So I seek permission and he's at it again. And oh, you're not working. You, as a boarding mistress, you're not working. The dorm is dirty. So the girls are not responsible. So I'm wondering, okay, so why did you have to tell me all of this when I'm looking or I'm seeking permission to attend to something? So he says, no, you can't leave. You can only leave after 2 weeks because we have events that are lined up here for the weekends, and you, as the dorm mistress, you have to be with the girls. So I'm wondering, okay, so who is supposed to attend to my child even as I attend to the girls? Well, somehow, he let it go and he permitted me. But then he did not fail to remind me the same thing he had told me the other time. I am not like so-and-so, you cannot seek permission and come back on Monday. Because even weekends are working days. And I'm wondering, okay, yes, they are working days, it's a boarding school, but isn't a teacher supposed to have things to attend to over the weekend? Okay, remember on that day I felt so attacked. I just ran to the house and cried. Looking back, I don't even know why I cried. But I cried. I was wondering, okay, I thought this was supposed to be a breath of fresh air, but things are getting worse. 1 month later, now I received some, I call it it's almost, we used to call them love letters. That day I received a love letter, and the content of the letter was, I'm supposed to vacate the schoolhouse. Why? Well, the reason given was valid, but the way, the language inside that letter, it actually, it felt off. You're supposed to vacate the schoolhouse in the next, was it 30 days? No, it was in June. So I was supposed to vacate by 24th July. Since there was a deputy who was supposed to report and he or she is supposed to reside in school. And I'm wondering, okay, did it even have to come through a letter? This is something that somebody was just called me and said, you know, this and this and this. You need to leave. And at the same time, he does not take into account where exactly we are. There is no housing, there is no proper housing. If you were to look for housing, well, labda utafute Manyata. Labda utafute Manyata, or maybe you move to the nearest polytechnic and look for one of the classrooms and set up there. Or maybe in one of the dispensaries and look for a ward. Okay. It was not as funny as it sounds right now. Fortunately, I got a house in the polytechnic. But then again, it did not stop there. The next thing, now he starts going through proxies. He does not talk to me directly. He goes through, Mr. So-and-so, tell your sister to do this and this and this. Mr. So-and-so, tell your sister, even if she does not reside in school, she'll have to come to school by 5:30 and leave at 10:30 when duty ends. Well, looking back right now, I think it was a very immature way of passing a message. Well, he could have actually told me that just because you're residing outside the school does not mean you're exempted from duty. So I took it in. I would go to school at 5:30 in the morning. The unorthodox method of communication, well, I didn't find it kind. I didn't even find it professional. But I went along with it. So at some point, it got to a point, I was receiving so many messages, like very many messages from colleagues. Oh, so-and-so said this. At assembly, so-and-so said this. Because at one time, which I'm going to talk about in a few, he said, people are seeking transfers. They even want to go back to their home counties. Those are small-minded people. And I remembered it is only I who was seeking a transfer. So I felt, well, okay, sawa, it is okay. So every other morning I'm receiving, so-and-so said this, so-and-so said this, so-and-so, until at some point, because of all of these stories I'm hearing, all of these messages I'm receiving every morning, all of these, unorthodox means of communication, now I became afraid. Whenever it was time to go to school, I was like, okay, should I not? And it was actually some kind of anxiety building up because I don't know, okay, what will be said today, the message I'm going to receive today, what did he say today during assembly, what did he say when he was speaking to somebody, as a by the way, because something peculiar about staff rooms is that people will talk, they will say anything. And staff rooms are full of gossip. So gossip never expires. They will tell you. Whatever was said will get to you at some point. So we went on. Now that is the first term he has reported. Those are the first 3 months. Now we get to the 4th month where we are supposed to go for holiday. Is it in August? Yes. Okay, that was pre-COVID, so August. We were supposed to go for holiday, and a colleague of ours had lost a dad. So, like 3 of us, or 2, were supposed to go and condole with her. So, at that point, he's at it again. So, we are supposed to even fund people to go for parents' funerals. Oh, that is the work of a school welfare. And now we are wondering, so what is so wrong with funding people to go to condole with a colleague? And at that point, he made that day sound like it's a favor he was doing for that colleague. Okay, yes, we left. But you, at the back of your mind, you're wondering, okay, what if it is this colleague who had died? What would have happened? Because at this point, she's mourning a parent. Okay, we let go. But we went and we condoled and we came back.